Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm going to talk about observability. I'm at Crazy on Twitter, which is spelled like on the slides, not like what you think. And I work for Elastic, so if you want to know why Elastic pays me to come out here and talk about observability, talk to me later. I only have 5 minutes. So what are we going to talk about? Observability, right? Is it just monitoring? Is it just like a cool marketing term for monitoring so we can sell you better tools? Well, yeah, I mean, it's sort of monitoring. That's kind of like saying it, you're not wrong. You're just sort of missing the major key differences that we're talking about. It's like saying that cloud is someone else's computer and there's still servers in serverless. You're not wrong, but you're missing the fundamental shifts that we're making and why we're using new words to talk about it. Does anyone know what this is? It's a lamp stack. So does anyone deploy software like this now? Are you deploying new things where you're installing an application in an OS on a computer you can turn on and off to influence your customer? One person. I'm sorry. But we are theoretically trying to build complex microservice meshes, right? Like, arguably, that's why we're talking about DevOps, not lamp stack days. And when you have these, you've got lots of different component parts communicating different ways. We've sort of broken down that linear relationship between cause and effect. Everything's a little bit broken all of the time, but our customers don't know it. And so that's a key difference here. We're not thinking about things in the same way anymore. We don't necessarily care that one particular machine's not working, because we've got 10 more pods that lit up automatically. So we've shifted all of our architecture to the left, right? We're moving all of this framework to the left, so how do we understand how it's working if we're still looking in the middle for systems? We need to shift our perspective to the right side, to where our customer is. Are we able to deliver that value that they're looking for? We don't care about system health anymore. We care about our service health. It doesn't matter if all of our systems are up and running without problems if the customers can't start a stream on Netflix, or they can't do whatever it is you're providing. So that's what we have to start measuring. All right, so observability in lots of words. Largely, we're trying to ask arbitrary questions, right? This is the proxy we're trying to create to communicate with our systems that Maddie was talking about. Right, he also talked about emergent problems, right? We want to discover those new things we didn't expect to have problems with before, because all the other stuff has largely been discovered. So these are the 3 pillars of observability, which, fine. Like, if you want to install these 3 things and change nothing else and say that you've got observability at your organization, go ahead and do it, and you'll have lots and lots of data. But it's a little bit like saying the 3 pillars of carpentry are screwdrivers, hammers, and nails, I guess. Yeah, you use them, but they're tools. They're not pillars. There's nothing inherent about these things that gives you observability. And if they're tools, we have to understand how to use them in order to get the most out of them. Metrics are great for collecting lots of health data and storing it in a small numerical space and doing interesting calculations with it, but they don't always have the context we need to solve problems. We're talking about high cardinality data right now. If you have billions of requests, 1 in a million chances are happening constantly. In fact, most of the problems you'll have once. So you want things like enriched structured logging, not flat files, please. If you're writing new logs, structure them and include all of the data you can in those logs. APM and distributed tracing is really good for tracing problems through your system. You say, I don't know where to look. Start with the beginning of the request. Follow it through your entire system and figure out where it's going. Start finding out where it's hanging up and where those problems are. Do people use dashboards to troubleshoot? Because these are static things. These answer questions you had before, not new ones that you have. So it's great if you can interact with them and search and change them and alter them, but they should be thought of something of an investigation that you can throw away, not something to keep forever. Having all of this observable data, this is what allows you to test in production with real live examples of what humans do, not the staging that you think they do. You'll want things like feature flags and canary deploys, but the feature flag talk is next. So this also isn't saying to get rid of testing and QA, right? You still should test before production, that's a good thing. And your QA engineers are actually really helpful for observability because their job is to write tests to make sure your software delivers value in production. That's a useful thing to do. And dashboards aren't useless either. Their best place is for other people in your business. Think about measuring your revenue or your OPSEC. They might have to make decisions based on a dashboard. But revenue especially, right? If we can start measuring where the actual value of our business is coming in or whatever our organization is, that's really important. Your C-suite does not care if your data center is literally on fire as long as they're making money. So that's really important, right? That's what we want to start measuring. And if we can correlate the value we're bringing in with the systems we're working on, it's going to be much easier to point and say, hey, here's the value I provide your organization the next time you're starting to ask for a raise. So hopefully I've convinced you to talk about observability, and we'll see you in an open space.